Yo, what is up guys, this is Astronox and today I'm gonna talk about the new Plasma Vortex update. This is in Tap Wizard RPG Arcane Quest. So, let's see here. Plasma Vortex, the burst now reduces the armor by 10% of the damage it deals. My Plasma Vortex, while I'm leveling it, I was in Mark II before and I had all the augmentations unlocked and it was working really good. But now since I marked it up, it's not that great, but it's still good. Just gonna show you guys what setup I feel like is working really good. So as you can see on this monster, Plasma Vortex is supposed to reduce the armor or the damage dealt, but this monster is really tanky. The armor is displayed with the blue bar above the monster's health bar, and Plasma Vortex just like melts through it on most of the monsters unless they're super tanky. But the build I'm running is this. I'm using Fire Elemental here because the passives augment the Plasma Vortex damage and cast speed. Also, since like it buffs all damage, fire, cast speed, and power drop, is just an amazing spell to level up for its passives. I'm clearly not using it for damage because, as you can see here, the damage contribution is only 2%. Plasma Vortex doesn't do that much compared to Shocknet. Shocknet is doing insane amount of damage. So yeah, we got Fire Elemental for the passives. Get it 100% experience contribution. Let's have auto recall. Nice, I got it back. So Plasma Vortex also, the passives. I mean, Amber is used on other builds I run. Amber is really strong. It can also be used in this build. I'll show you variations of this Plasma Vortex build. I mean, there's so many builds. It depends on the situation, but the passives are really good. You already have XP rate. Amber is a great spell and get fire damage. So pretty amazing. Now I'm using it with sparks. Spark is making it cast more often. My spark is a 0.35 second cooldown. I like it to have it around there because it can proc trigger 3 times per second. That's the maximum. And the cooldown on Plasma Vortex is only 0.7 second. So when you use Spark, you want it close to 1 second, but Spark can trigger up to 3 times per second, so it works out. So yeah, I mean, if I lowers my TM lags ER, which is now 9, it will just make Plasma Vortex cast slower and Spark slower, but Spark will not be able to trigger 3 times per second. So, but Plasma Vortex will do more damage per hit. So that's one thing I want to talk about. Shocknet snares all targetable enemies, electrical web, dealing damage and shocking them for 1 second. The cooldown is 1.73 second. I'm using it with Spark, so it's working out really good. It's about to level Mark 3 soon, so I'm gonna lose some of the augmentations here. But the passives, I mean, Chain Lightning is not great. It's not that good. The Researcher is alright. All damage really good. Ice cast speed is good too for Ice Wall. And the augmentations, well, they are really good too. All shock status effects are triggered before the net is cast, because like when you shock a monster, he takes that extra damage. He takes damage. You can see here the exact explanation. Status effect. The lightning status effect is shock. Enemy that are shocked have 16% chance to be struck by lightning each second. The lightning strikes damage scale with the casting spells damage bonus. So it does not say exactly how much damage the monster will take when shocked, but it will be struck by lightning each second. And so Shocknet does more damage when there's less than 6 monsters on the screen. Damage is doubled. And after 1 second, a secondary net is cast, which deals no damage but shocks all enemy for 1 second. So like all the enemies are shocked like permanently because like Shocknet is being cast super quickly, and you deal double damage when there's less than 6 monsters on the screen. So it works out for bursting like a couple monsters, or single target damage is quite viable. So this, I'm using Spark on that and using Spark on Plasma Vortex. So here's the variation. Let's say you don't have Spark, right? Because I mean, I'm using 2, and let's say you're starting out, maybe you have Plasma Vortex, you don't have Spark, and let's say you got lucky and you got Shocknet as well. And Fire Elemental, from what I remember, you don't have it at the start. You have Lightning Elemental, unless it changed, but I'm pretty sure it's still Lightning Elemental. Anyways, okay, so here's what you can do. Let's say, oh, another thing before I talk about this, I'm putting Plasma Vortex. Let's say you're further into the game and you did some meditation, you have the tower unlocked. You need to put Plasma Vortex on the spell slot that is buffed by 50% spell damage, because you want your Plasma Vortex to deal as much damage as possible per hit, so it takes more armor off of the enemy. So me, for the towers, okay, so tower left, the second one here, Bravery on the tower left, boosts the spell damage by 50% on the second spell in the wizard's loadout. And if you went for tower right, it's going to be the last one that will buff your spell damage on the 4th loadout slot by 50%. So you should probably go with tower left. The healing is amazing. Yeah, the healing is amazing, and you have it on the second one, so it's much you can obtain it much faster, and you don't have to wait for, like, let's say you're not in New Game Plus yet. You have to do 4 meditation to unlock this one. So I mean, you're not gonna have it up for like much of the time. Like, if you have to do 4 meditation before you unlock this thing. So yeah, go tower left and get it on the second. But when you're in higher New Game Plus, just yeah, just use this one. This one is better. I can explain to you quickly why. Because the assistant is casting the 5th loadout slot at half the cast speed, imitating Ivan, you see. So if you put Spark on the 5th slot, he's also helping you cast it, and he has a 3 trigger per 1 second limit as well. He's not using your 3 trigger per second on your Spark. So the spell in the 4th loadout slot is getting buffed like massively. So yeah, it's gonna be cast more often. Now, just 1 second here. It's important to do these things, guys. Okay. So, I was talking about Spark. So, okay, you don't have Spark, so you're gonna do something. You can go with, let's say, you put Ice Wall is amazing for survival. Now you have survival. Now let's say you're not leveling Fire Elemental, but you should be leveling it because it boosts Plasma Vortex, and all the passives are amazing. but let's say you go maximum survival. You don't have spark. Okay, let's say you have 2 Plasma Vortex. You could do something like that. But the Plasma Vortex on the 3rd loadout slot is not going to do much damage because the second one gets 50% damage buff. Now, with my setup, I have 50% cast speed on the 5th loadout with haste on tower left, the 4th one. So it's helping out ice wall. I can have 6 up at the same time. So you got survival, you got your damage with shock, but you can see here, okay, the damage is weird. Let's see, the damage contribution. Yeah, Shocknet should be doing the bulk of the damage here. It's a slower build because, I mean, you're sacrificing offense for survival because Ice Wall makes it so you take less damage. Let's say I have 6 running, so that's 35% damage reduction. It can be up to 50% damage reduction at maximum if you spark the Ice Wall or if you have faster cast speed, higher TM lags ER. And Frozen Orb, well, makes it so you have 50% deflect against projectile. And negates auras and shields of enemies upon impact. It's a great spell for survival. But it's clearly slowing down the run damage-wise. You can push further because Ice Wall gives you that extra layer of protection with Frozen Orb. I have the auto recall if you're wondering what is going on. It's this spell here. Auto recall for 8 minutes. Okay, so other variations. So this is like close to maximum survival. I mean, you need to spark the Ice Wall if you want 50% damage reduction, or you need a higher TM lags ER to cast faster. Now, let's say you don't have Plasma Vortex, you don't have 2, you put Amber in there. Amber is amazing. It when attack, the enemies will gain their healing will be 50% less like effective. It used to be like they cannot heal, but that was nerfed by the developer, which is quite understandable. It was too good. So yeah, right now we got the survival, we got the Amber going on. Amber actually deals quite a bit of damage because it burns, and the burn lasts twice as long. Yeah, I mean, it's really good. And the passives on Amber are actually good too, like the all damage and gold drop. Those two together are really strong. Ice damage, well, depends if you're using ice, but yeah. Okay, so let's say you don't have... Okay, so that's a lot of spells right there. This build is quite like achievable. You can have, let's say, you can, if you have Plasma Vortex in there, you can do, there's many builds you can run, but okay, let's say you don't have Frozen Orb, we can just go in there, put the Fire Elemental to boost the passives. Let's say you do not have Shocknet, you can, let's say you have Blizzard, you can put Blizzard in there. Blizzard's pretty decent. I mean, it's not amazing. You can use the Lightning Elemental, or heck, you could use the Fire Elementals for the damage. Like, yeah, you could use that. You could use all the elementals. It's just Shocknet just damages everything on the screen, so it just ends up dealing so much more damage. Okay, so that's with Blizzard. Let me go and do the raid. I'm saving my Rune Knight, guys, to buy the plus